What is up, guys, gals, and you awesomeans and gamers of different shapes and sizes? It is me, Jojo, Proxy, bringing you some Titanfall 2 today on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it's going to be pretty freaking awesome, baby. As you know, I'm in love with this game, and I cannot wait to show you even more gameplay in the future. Going to have some really cool different videos in the future for you as well, which I'm really looking forward to doing. Obviously, it's kind of difficult doing it at the moment while I'm in New Zealand and stuff, but hopefully we can actually get Alexis on this and potentially do some awesome editorials and things. You may notice as well I'm actually doing a different type of editing today, where I'm actually kind of transitioning throughout the match as well to show you all those cool moments, especially since we get a really high kill count today. I think we get 29 pilot kills, which is really freaking epic. You may notice I'm actually using the car SMG, which is really awesome too. Very powerful weapon. You'll find that a lot of the guns in Titanfall 2 are actually very player friendly, which means that you can actually pick any gun you want and you'll pretty much be able to do, you know, awesomely with it. I mean, there's always like a little bit of a different playstyle to things. Like there's the AK-47 type assault rifle that you get at the end of the game. I cannot remember what it's called. It's not called the Volk. I think the Volk was the submachine gun that you get now, which is very powerful and very popular too. But the final assault rifle you actually get is actually very sucky when you aim down sights, but very powerful when you fire from the hip. So it's kind of weird that you actually have these types of weapons that benefit from different shooting styles, which is kind of cool. I don't know if anybody else thinks that's kind of cool. I'd love to know what you think to it. But also, don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and why not subscribe for more Titanfall 2 content in the future, because obviously we're going to be covering this game to death, maybe until it's death, as I like to say. And you may notice as well that I was actually camping there a little bit. This is something that a lot of people obviously kind of like, what would you say, like shake their head at, you know, maybe kind of like don't like the idea of. But I feel like when it comes to Bounty Hunter, one of the key tactics to playing Bounty Hunter is to stop the enemy team from actually scoring. And it's that thing where you do actually have to kind of defend these cash points, because if you don't, then obviously they're going to be able to build up their score meter and potentially win, and we do not want that to happen. Another thing to try and do, remember, as well, is to try and stop enemies from giving batteries to Titans. If you do actually see an enemy carrying a battery towards a Titan, that will mean they'll potentially be able to give it some more of its health back, or give it a shield as well. That again really works against you. Now thankfully I did actually was able to stop that enemy pilot to actually steal their battery and give it to my Ronin, which means I actually have that shield, which is really helpful. To remember, Ronins come with barely any health, so make sure you are actually kind of looking after your Ronin at all times, or finding those batteries scattered around from fallen piles on the field, because remember, it will help you in the long run. Like, for a good example, look, I barely have any of that shield that I just gained back, and so now I'm starting to lose health. And remember that a Ronin only has 3 chunks of health, which kind of sucks. You have to really be tactical when it comes to using Ronin. Now, I say this with a key kind of feature, a key kind of meaning, and that is because somebody actually mentioned to me, why am I not actually using my sword core all the time? Now, obviously, the sword core is an ability that is quite powerful for Ronin, but at the same time it's quite a double-edged sword, no pun intended, mainly because you do actually equip the sword instantly, and it's this thing where you actually replace your gun with the sword as well until that sword core meter has ran out. Now while you're doing that, obviously it amplifies your sword damage and it allows you to actually attack faster with the sword too, without so many breaks from your standard melee attack. Also, love meleeing pilots with the sword. It's like kind of like cutting like a hot knife through butter or something, don't you think? It's like really badass. But it is this thing where when using your sword core, you do actually leave yourself up to a lot of attacks, and you don't really want that. It's this thing where, because obviously you are running at enemies with the sword, it means that they can actually do ranged attacks to you, and you do actually give up your shotgun for obviously your dedicated sword. And so personally, I find myself not using it that much, only when I'm actually able to get behind an enemy. So if I find that a enemy's actually been distracted by one of my friendly Titans, that means I actually have a lot of kind of potential to actually do an awesome back attack. And I find that Ronin is really good at assassinations. I don't know if it's because it does actually have that speed to it, that kind of slim kind of build, and also the sword, which makes it feel like a little bit of a ninja. So I don't know if maybe because of the whole Japanese kind of inspired kind of like aesthetic too, that potentially that is kind of like the key kind of like use for Ronin, that it's not for kind of like up close and personal fights, as you can see here, but more kind of like getting behind the enemy, using distractions to your advantage and then poning them. Now interestingly enough, obviously I am actually in New Zealand, so you can actually see a little bit of lag here, doing a lot of sword core damage though, which is really awesome. So able to use that tactic to my advantage to actually kind of like work between the two different Titans there and do some serious damage. Another thing you may have noticed there as well is that an enemy pilot tried to rodeo me while I was in the middle of an execution, and thankfully using that execution it actually counts as rodeoing as well, which is very, very awesome. Now sadly I did actually lose my core, which was a bit of a shame because obviously that means I was put into Doom emergency mode, but I was able to stop that enemy pilot to actually gain my core back and give myself a shield while also giving myself a tiny little bit of health back as well, so that was also very, very useful. Remember that when you are in Doom mode and you actually do find a battery on the floor, you can actually give yourself all of your Doom mode health back, which is still very useful, but remember that if an enemy Titan does actually run up to you and holds down their melee button, they will still be able to do an execution on you, so be very, very careful, very, very cautious while in Doom mode. Like, as you saw there, I had like the tiniest little bit left. If I had stayed in there like any longer, I would probably have died. Oh, and watch this, this is so cool. This is a brand new execution I got. I had to show you this. I basically steal the sidearm of an enemy pilot and then execute them with it and then cast it aside. I had to equip that and show you it. Finally, I can use it as review footage because I thought it looked so cool, so badass. Now, one that they've actually brought out with the DLC is really, really awesome as well, is basically where you actually teleport into an enemy pilot and explode them from the inside, kind of like in The Matrix when Neo does it to Agent Smith at the end. It's such an awesome kind of idea for a finisher, and I cannot wait to unlock it. Supposing you need to get 50 pilot executions and you will get that for free. So it's kind of awesome that they've actually made it so you don't actually have to purchase that with real cash. You actually can actually work towards it through just playing the game yourself, which is really, really awesome. But let me know in the comments section below what you thought of the execution. I would love to. I easily think that must be one of my favorites. I mean, there is one where you kind of like snap the neck, which is standard. There's also one where you pull someone down and it's like kind of like beating them to death, kind of like in Gears of War. And I believe there is also one where you kind of do like a jet boost assisted kind of like upwards kick, which is kind of cool too. But I'm kind of excited to see what other kind of things they'll bring out in the future. And again, this new kind of like phase lock teleport exploding jam blood kind of thing from the inside seems very, very exciting. Now, interestingly enough, you may have noticed that that enemy iron was actually rushing towards me, but then kind of like buggered off, which is kind of weird, and just kind of like disappeared for some reason. I don't know like where he went. He kind of like boosted around here like a Ronin somehow, which is kind of interesting. Maybe he had the dash car, I'm not too sure, but this is where the lag happens, where I was talking about going into slow motion. I'm literally trying my best here to pwn this guy, and the internet is working against me now. One thing to know is that the ping is at 200 while I'm playing Titanfall in New Zealand, which is very, very bad, so obviously the internet is working against me a lot. But you actually see there, my Titans are kind of like slide showing while the other like pilots and like Titans are kind of like seeing it from their perspective, and it seems to be that you kind of, if you lag, then it kind of shows that lag for everybody else, which is kind of cool in a sense. So it means that like the lag kind of works against you, but also works to the benefit of people in a sense where they don't share that lag, where everybody else isn't getting that lag. So that means that people aren't actually hosting in this game, it's actually server-based, which is awesome. So dedicated servers all around, which is fantastic. And so being able to see like pilots lag in this game is really, really cool. This was something that I kind of like noticed while I was playing this match as well, is that I was actually shooting a few people quite a bit, and they weren't losing their health, which was something that was kind of funky. I mean, this is that thing as well where lag actually works towards like hit detection, and obviously that thing where like hit damage actually registering into other people's kind of like games and stuff as well. But it is that kind of, I don't know, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of that thing where it's kind of a shame that games can't kind of like register it faster, that maybe like, I don't know, like it should be kind of like kilobytes instead of megabytes when it comes to like the determination of internet lag and latency and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, what is your opinion when it comes to lag? Do you think there should be kind of like more pushes of technology to try and combat it maybe? Because obviously the general requirement is 5 megabyte download, and then isn't it kind of like 1 megabyte upload for multiplayer gaming, I believe? Which I have plenty of, but for some reason when it comes to actually like connecting to a data center that is in another country, it's very, very difficult. Like at the moment, I'm having to connect to the Japanese data centers to actually play with anybody in Titanfall 2, because nobody plays this game in New Zealand, which is kind of a shame. There is actually a New Zealand data center in Sydney, which is obviously ages away. I'm actually in Tauranga at the moment, but it seems like it just completely worked against me. Like this was just not my day. The dog was not having its day today when it came to latency, and so this was a laggy match, but I still was able to get 29 pilot kills, which is very, very awesome. Obviously a lot much of that thanks does go to my Ronin, which is really cool too, because generally we don't actually get that much good Ronin gameplay, or you won't see many good Ronins on the field. But thankfully I was able to show you some really capable Ronin gameplay I hope today, which is very, very awesome. Also, let me know what you think his editing style as well by transitioning to very good moments in the matches, also cutting out a lot of those kind of like deaths as well. I mean, it wasn't all my deaths, but it was a lot of kind of like wandering around the field trying to find people, because remember, one thing that is a major complaint when it comes to Titanfall 2 is the emptiness of some of the maps. You know, not only the emptiness of the maps, but the areas of the maps. And this is because mainly they've actually ended up developing the game so that enemy AI grunts spawn where the action is happening, which is kind of interesting. So it's this kind of thing where if you do actually kind of like have battles all over the place, then those kind of like AI will actually spawn all over the map. But if one of the main core focuses of the pilots is to combat one specific area, this is actually a really cool moment. I love how I'm kind of like running between this Titan battle and seeing those rockets from Tone just flying over my head. Really cool, really, really awesome. Also, a little bit of deja vu there. I actually died there previously while poning people as well, which is kind of funky. But also get my Titan. You may notice I'm actually getting my Titan a lot, and this is something that I've mentioned as well in previous videos, that they've actually increased the Titan gain a lot now. So you actually get your Titan so much while playing this game if you do quite well. But let me know what you think to that. Do you think you get your Titan way too much now, or do you think you actually get a, you know, like a pretty much acceptable rate? Would love to know. Also, you may notice a Tone doing some bullet damage here, which is quite cool from its 40mm cannon. I do actually have some footage of me using the burst, kind of like ability, what would you call it, as kind of like enhancement, because obviously there is those kind of like core abilities that you can actually choose as well, which kind of like changes the like selectable abilities that you have as well, kind of like your, as you can see here, using my kind of like Thunderwave and things. But I do actually have the 40mm burst ability, which comes with Tone, which allows you to actually zoom in and charge up 3 shots at a time, which is quite cool. You do actually have this originally in Titanfall 1, but now they've made it where you kind of have to like zoom in and load it up instead of just kind of like firing away and kind of giving up some accuracy. Now you have pinpoint accuracy, but you actually have a 3-shot burst, but you do actually charge it, which is really cool. So kind of like a give and take, but a very, very awesome give and take, where it's not kind of like just spamming it in close range, but now you actually have to kind of like play to Tone's strengths, which is obviously range. It's still staying in range, but kind of like having that thing where you keep the accuracy instead of kind of like giving it up, which I think is kind of cool. But still, comment section below, let me know what you thought this match. Would love to know. It's been me, Josh, aka Proxy, bringing you some Titanfall 2 today, and it's been pretty awesome. Oh my goodness, Ronin, Titanfall 2, Angel City, so much stuff, but either way, I'll see you all next time. Ciao for now.